and welcome to section 3 of unit 1 of international procurement. Today we'll be discussing why source from international markets. So by the end of this section you should be able to understand global sourcing, you should be able to understand why source from the international markets, identify parties involved in international sourcing activities. So global sourcing is the practice of sourcing from the global market for goods and services across geopolitical boundaries. As I mentioned earlier in the subsequent, um, as I mentioned earlier in the previous slide of what sourcing is. So sourcing is basically identifying where the goods, works or services you want to acquire, where you get it from. So global sourcing is practically sourcing from the global market or identifying where you get the goods from in the across geopolitical boundaries. So sourcing is a strategic business philosophy that coordinates the world's most cost-effective production and operation inputs such as men, materials, machines, technology, suppliers, engineers, and uh, other required facilities. So basically, sourcing globally or anything globally has come to stay with us, where people, businesses travel across boundaries, geopolitical boundaries to get what they want. So basically, that's what um, global sourcing is about. So it's a procurement strategy that aims to take advantage of global efficiencies for deliveries of goods and services, which has also become a strategic source in today's competitive setting. So the efficiencies include low cost skilled labor, low cost of raw materials, other economic factors like tax breaks and low tariffs. As I use an example of organizations that or in China that want to capitalize on cheap labor in Africa. So they also travel, they also go global so that they can get some of these benefits out of the many you can get globally. So international market sourcing. So companies decide to go globally or enter into international markets for a variety of reasons. And these different objectives at the time of entry should produce different strategies, performance goals, and even forms of market participation. So the most common is sometimes refers to as the increasing commitments method of market development, in which market entry is done via an independent local partner. So as we already know, is we organizations tend to increase commitments, and that is also another way or the most common way we may term as a reason why organizations may want to enter into the international markets. So why should we source from the international market? As we also mentioned earlier, there's availability of cheap labor, accessibility of raw materials. So for example, if you want to buy apples, there are specific areas you may want to get apples in the world. Yes, so when it comes to labor, there are some countries that have cheap labor and you may want to capitalize on such competitive advantage. Then we come to reciprocation of service. So sometimes for example, let's say Ghana, we may need chocolates, but we have cocoa. Then we will give you cocoa, then they will in turn also give us chocolates. So we may not have the technological ability to transform our cocoa into chocolate. So hence we want to go internationally. So we give the European markets cocoa and they also tend to give us chocolate. So there's this reciprocation of service. Again, increase innovation. For technology's sake, there are a lot of innovative benefits we so organizations may enjoy some innovation um, activities from the international or the global market. Again, we come to the economies of scale. So exporting an excellent way to expand your business with products that are more widely accepted around the world. You can benefit from um, having product that is worldly, I mean, acknowledged. So, for example, you if you are buying, so for example, um, in a manufacturing organization or in a manufacturing industry, um, when firms go globally, they can help companies achieve a greater scale of economy or a greater economy of scale, especially for companies from smaller domestic markets. So basically, a company may seek to explore a unique and differentiation advantage. That's like an intellectual property. So, for example, if you go into global sourcing or you enter into the international market and you get um, the patent of or the franchise of KFC to Africa, then it means everybody that may want to enjoy KFC may come to you, and hence that's also another reason why firms or organizations may want to go into the international market. Again, education. I mean, under certain circumstances, a company might undertake an international market entry not solely for financial resources but to learn. So you learn how things are done there. I mean, you travel, as the saying goes, travel and see. You travel, go international to make things work, or you learn how things are done in an area or a field. Then you come to competitive strikes. So market entry can promote not by the positive characteristics of the country's of the country identified in a market assessment project, but as a reaction to the competitors' move. So it's like you are countering your competitors by also going into the market to add to your way of operation, or to add to your market scope. Yes, so that's also another reason why firms may want to go international. And then government incentives, that's like cash, for example. So it is common for government to incentivize their country's companies to export. So sometimes as people are traveling, or they become like a route to which goods travel from one country to the other, they may enjoy some government incentives. Again, sometimes when organizations travel globally, they can then enjoy some free trade agreements and all that. Some of these incentives that come um, into play. So we look at some parties that are involved in international procurement. So, for example, there's always the exporter, as we already know, who is a person or entity sending or transporting the good out of a country. So, if you are transporting a good out of a country, you are the exporter. And then there's always the importer, which is the other way around, which is the person or entity buying or transporting goods from another country into the importer's home country. And then we have the carrier, that's also the uh, the entity handling the physical transportation of the goods across the borders. So, for example, we see FedEx, we see DHL, and in Ghana we see EMS. Yes, so they all of these firms could be termed as a carrier. So in this section, we looked at global sourcing. We understand why um, we have to source from international markets, and again, parties that are involved in the international sourcing activities. Thank you.